Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Good afternoon. I think I have to. Yeah. Good afternoon. Welcome again to Wing Commander Mike Bracken, the Operation Unified Protector spokesman, who joins us from Naples. Wing Commander Bracken will give us an operational update in a few minutes. I think we've all seen the announcement by the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court that he's asking judges to issue arrest warrants for Muammar Gaddafi and 2 other senior members of the Libyan regime for crimes against humanity. Clearly, the court is an independent institution. It's now up to the judges to make the next step. But all the evidence that the prosecutor has gathered is a stark reminder of why NATO is conducting operations in Libya, to protect civilians against what the prosecutor described as crimes against humanity perpetrated by the Gaddafi regime. It's further proof of the international isolation of the regime, and that international isolation is growing by the day, and that the reign of terror must end immediately. It's hard to imagine that a genuine transition in Libya can take place while those responsible for widespread and systematic attacks against the civilian population remain in power. So what we see every day is that the pressure on the regime is mounting to fulfill the mandate of the United Nations Security Council. Within that mandate, NATO is keeping up the pressure, and we can see the results on the ground. We've loosened the regime's grip on Misrata, we've eased the humanitarian situation there, we have stopped the regime from retaking the country by force, and we have done so with the greatest care to minimize risks to civilians. Clearly, there is no purely military solution to the crisis in Libya. The contact group, which, as you know, includes NATO, has agreed that time's up for the Gaddafi regime, and it will continue applying a combination of military, political and military means to bring about a solution that respects the legitimate aspirations of the Libyan people. NATO will continue degrading Gaddafi's war machine until all the military goals set by NATO allies and contributing partners have been met, and those goals are, as you know, an end to all attacks against civilians, the return of all pro-Gaddafi forces to barracks and bases, and ensuring full and unhindered humanitarian access to all those who need it. We're all determined to keep up the pressure as long as Gaddafi continues attacking his own people. And that was the strong message from the meeting that the Secretary General had with President Obama and members of his national security team in Washington last Friday. They also discussed the mission in Afghanistan, where transition is on track, and prospects for the next NATO summit, which President Obama has offered to host next spring in the United States. The Secretary General's next international engagement is in Slovakia on Thursday, then in Italy on Friday. He will meet the leaders of both those countries on a range of security matters, but Libya will be at the top of the agenda. And with that, it's over to Wing Commander Mike Bracken in Naples for an update on recent operations. Mike.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome back to Naples. I'm Wing Commander Mike Bracken, the spokesperson for Operation Unified Protector. This operation, carried out under United Nations Security Council Resolution 1970 and 1973, has now been underway for more than 6 weeks. We are achieving our objectives of reducing the Gaddafi regime's capacity to coordinate strikes against innocent civilians and diminishing its will to fight. Now let me tell you about our latest operations. In the past 4 days, we have engaged command and control nodes, particularly in Tripoli and military training facilities near Tripoli, surface-to-air missile launchers, ammunition storage facilities, armoured vehicles, rocket launchers, tanks and anti-aircraft guns. As you can see, a huge array of military targets. And I've just seen a United Kingdom press release giving some details of one of the NATO strikes last night. Video, please. This shows a Royal Air Force aircraft striking the military training facility on the outskirts of Tripoli.